Hi, my name is Sascha Anseld, and I'm the director of The Blue Umbrella.
Hi, I'm Brian Boyd. I was the lighting supervisor.
And this is Chris Burrows. I was the supervising technical director.
Here we go.
Here we go.
I'm really happy with how the first shots turned out because we wanted to fool the audience into thinking this is a real city and this is not animation, having the audience think they're maybe in the wrong film.
I think everybody bought into, okay, let's do this thing that maybe looks a little bit different from what Pixar does, and they were kind of inspired by it, and they really met that challenge really well.
We wanted to enhance the magic of things coming to life so that this moment here when the first character blinks, you're kind of confused what is going on there because that doesn't happen in reality.
You know, if you see some cartoony looking thing that looks like a face and then it suddenly comes to life, that's not really that surprising or magical. But if you just have the real world and then all of a sudden this power great blinks, then it becomes a magical thing and the audience is brought into the story a little bit more.
Once the city comes to life, the idea was always to enter kind of this magical reality. It's still photoreal. It becomes so painterly.
It's still deliberately stylized. It's just more realistic than what we normally do.
So the vocals here are sung by Sarah Jaffe. Initially, we actually animated all the city characters to sing the lyrics that Sarah Jaffe sings. But at one point, we decided that would be too distracting from our main story of the two umbrellas. So we just had the city characters come to life, and Sarah became more the embodiment of how the city feels. It's funny, initially in my pitch, all the umbrellas were happy that it rains. And we always said the owners are unhappy, but since we never see the owners, and we didn't want to see the owners because it is about the umbrellas, we decided to have all the other umbrellas be unhappy about the rain, which separates them out more.
Could you talk to why you chose the simple faces on these photorealistic objects?
I wanted the faces of the umbrellas to be distinctly different because all the city characters, they naturally have faces, but umbrellas don't have faces in real life, and we didn't want to force any faces artificially into there. So the idea was to keep them away from reality as much as possible. 2 dots for eyes and a line for the mouth, and by the time we see the umbrellas, we are already in this magical reality of the city being alive, so we kind of put on our magic glasses.
They're emotional shorthand. It's like you get it, it's not real.
Yeah, the
but
faces of the umbrellas are more a representation of how the umbrellas feel like than the physical reality of that world.
Right.
This is sort of the default rain look. We had several types of rain throughout the short. And this one is generic. It's just raining. It's not really much interesting happening with the rain. It's just rain.
Yeah, for us, the rain was always the third main character. Once they get separated, it becomes really harsh. And when he falls into the traffic, it's kind of the harshest it will probably get. And the sound design of it changes as well from kind of really soft and beautiful to something very dry and ugly.
You can see how it's the raindrops are sort of longer and harsher looking, and they're coming from the side more. It doesn't feel like a pleasant rain you'd want to walk around in.
It was interesting because I think none of us knew how the film would look like when it's done. I think we all, in the beginning, were worried, can we actually pull this off?
When you added the idea that we needed to have more photorealistic look to it, that made the challenge even stronger because that's not normally an approach that we take.
There's my favorite Easter egg. The bus stop that the owner of the Red Umbrella is waiting in front of, there is a poster on that bus stop, which is the German poster for John Carter of Mars.
And also, Eleanor is the driver of all the cars.
Eleanor from Brave is the driver of all the cars.
Her body is sitting in the cars, driving all of the cars down the street.
Yeah, it's interesting. The moment where he gets saved by the other city characters, there was something that wasn't in my initial pitch. We realized the city just watching while things like this happen to the Blue Umbrella would be kind of sad, and we wanted them to do something, so we came up with this idea of finding characters that could physically do something to help him. With these shots where Blue is lying on the ground, I wanted us as the audience to lie on the ground with him. So all the cameras are super low so that we don't look down on him, but we're with him on the ground.
Sascha, why did you call that part the boring rain? Right here when Blue is on the ground, this was the boring rain, according to you.
I wanted the rain here just to feel like very common, very normal. It just rains. I think the saddest thing for having an umbrella lying on the side of a street like this is the usualness of it, that it's not romantic, it's not beautiful, it's just sad, and that's how it is, but we don't over-romanticize it. One of the lighters for the first time showed the shot with red coming over blue, where he added this thing that we see the reflection of red already on blue, which of course wasn't there in any of the earlier versions because the shots weren't lit yet, but it was this beautiful detail that the lighter added. Bit of nice foreshadowing.
So underneath all of the umbrellas are actually Andy and Andy's mom from Toy Story 3 that we stretched out to match a more realistic human proportion. And they're wearing business suits. And then most of the time you don't actually see those.
Right.
Turn them off.
We went to great pains to try to hide them as much as possible.
So at the end in the cafe, is that Andy and Andy's mom who are dating?
Oh, God.
Yes.
And we have a happy end. I think initially I had some crazy amount of work ideas for the end credits, but then I remembered from a lot of movies I liked, there's these on-set photos, and I like the idea of kind of revisiting all the city characters in a timeless kind of fashion, and that's why they're black and white. And
I remember we were happy that they were stills and not,
yes,
not 8 more shots.
From the beginning on, I wanted this film to push a bit the boundaries of what an animated film can be like, and it was thanks to our amazing crew that it turned out as beautiful as it did.